I want to thank Justin Loza of Veterans for Peace and Sylvie Shi of the Monterey Peace and Justice Center and her friends for helping to transport our tables, chairs, and other supplies. Many thanks to Catherine Crockett, president of the Monterey Peace and Justice Center, who organized the publicity, the technology, and the transportation of materials. Thanks to the City of Pacific Grove for having us, and to Adventures by the Sea for the electricity, and thanks to Wes White for videography. I'm happy to welcome Susan Pantea, sabbatical minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Monterey Peninsula, to open the ceremony with a blessing.
Please join me in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, God of many names and beyond all naming, we gather tonight in peace. We gather tonight with caring hearts. We gather tonight in remembrance. Tonight we remember the events of 1945, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima on August 6th and Nagasaki on August 9, some 76 years ago. We remember the many victims of these events, the loved ones who were lost, and all those who suffered in myriad ways, even down through the generations. We remember with sadness, with compassion, with love. We remember, and we must not forget. We also gather tonight to recommit ourselves to peace, individually, collectively, and globally. We renew our resolve to work for nuclear disarmament. We renew our resolve to build a world in which such atrocities never happen again. We renew our resolve to build a peaceful world for all. The floating lanterns that will be released this evening honor the victims of war. Tonight, we have come together to launch them and to bear witness to their simple power, their serene beauty. May their collective glow illuminate a path to peace. May our peaceful collaboration here, our remembrance, our resolve, give us courage to follow the path. Amen.
Thank you. Next, we have Larry Oda, who was born in an internment camp in Texas and grew up in Monterey. He is a past president of the Japanese American Citizens League and a board member of the Buddhist Churches of America. Larry will read the story of the paper cranes.
Thank you. And welcome, everyone. I'm happy to see so many folks here to commemorate this event. And I'm here to read the story of Sadako Sasaki and the Thousand Cranes. This is a story that gives us a reminder that each one of us has a responsibility, but also an opportunity to make change in the world. Sadako Sasaki was 2 years old on August 6, 1945, when pilot Paul Tibbett of the United States Air Force flew his B-29 bomber over the city of Hiroshima, Japan. Unlike the other bombers that have flown over Hiroshima, Tibbett's bomber, the Enola Gay, was much different than previous ones. The Enola Gay carried an atomic bomb named Little Boy. By order of President Harry S. Truman, Tibbett and his crew dropped one of the most powerful bombs ever created over the city of a population of approximately 350 people. The story of a young girl who lived through the bombing of Hiroshima and eventually died from leukemia as a result is one of those many stories from Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. Yet Sadako's story still resonates with many people today. Sadako and her family lived a little over 1 mile from the bomb's hypocenter, ground zero. A blinding white light flashed through the city with a huge boom that was heard miles away when little boy exploded over Sadako's hometown. Immediately, fires broke out all over the city and radioactive black rain began to fall from the sky. Sadako and her mother and brother escaped the fires, but Sadako's grandmother was leaving with Sadako when she turned back to retrieve some family heirlooms from the home. She was never seen again. Sadako's father, who was not in Hiroshima at this time of the bombing, reunited with his family after the bombing, and Sadako and her family returned to Hiroshima to rebuild their lives. Like many others living in Hiroshima following World War II, the Sasaki family struggled with sickness, financial hardship, food scarcity, and the uncertainty of their family's future. They mourned the loss of their grandmother, neighbors, and home. The Sasaki family would also grieve for Sadako when she became sick with leukemia, which was called the atomic bomb disease, caused by the cancer was caused by the radioactive black rain that fell on Sadako and Hiroshima on the day of the bombing. By all appearances, Sadako was happy and a healthy child. She was known to be a fast runner and popular with her classmates. That is why it came as such a surprise when at the age of 12, Sadako began to show symptoms of leukemia and had to be admitted to the hospital. While in the hospital, Sadako remained optimistic and resilient. Even though she was sick, her upbeat attitude continued to bring happiness and cheer to her family and friends. Sadako was very happy the day the Red Cross Youth Club gave her and some other children staying in the hospital origami cranes, the folded cranes. They were brought to help people who were sick become well again. Sadako's father was visiting her at the hospital when she asked him, "Why did they send us origami cranes, Father?" He answered the question by telling Sadako the Japanese legend of the crane. Japanese folklore says that a crane can live for 1,000 years, and the person who folds an origami crane for each year of the crane's life will have their wish granted. The story of the origami cranes inspired Sadako. She had a new passion and purpose to have her wish of being well again granted by folding 1,000 origami cranes. Sadako began collecting hundreds of pieces of paper for her cranes. Sadako soon filled her room with hundreds of colorful origami cranes of all different sizes. After folding her 1,000th crane, Sadako made her wish to be well again and to run on her relay team. Sadly, Sadako's wish did not come true. She remained ill and did not lose her faith in origami cranes. Sadako began folding more cranes for her father's debt to be forgiven. This was her new wish. Sadako continued to fold cranes, some as small as a grain of rice, until her last moments. Surrounded by family, with 1,300 origami cranes in her room, hanging overhead, Sadako passed away at the age of 12 in October 1955. When Sadako first realized how sick she was, she had many thoughts and questions. She worried about her family, and if people would remember her. Sadako asked herself, how can I make the world a better place while I'm still alive? She wanted to leave the world a more peaceful place, and she shared those thoughts and feelings with her friends and family. Though Sadako did not know the impact on the world when she died, she did make the world a better place. Sadako's resilient spirit and her origami cranes inspired her friends and classmates to raise money for a monument for Sadako and the children who perished in the bombing. Since 1958, thousands have visited the statue of Sadako in Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park. Sadako's figure lifts a large paper crane overhead, Inscribed at the foot of Sadako's statue is a plaque that reads, "This is our plea, this is our prayer, peace in the world." So this is a story of how one person can make a difference in the world, and something to remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. I don't think I've ever heard a more moving version of the story. And the decoration along the railings are origami paper cranes. Mayors for Peace is an international organization of cities dedicated to the promotion of peace. It was established in 1982 by Hiroshima Mayor Takeshi Araki in response to the atomic bombing on August 6, 1945. Since then, mayors throughout the world have signed on. When mayors sign on, it means they support commencing negotiations toward the elimination of nuclear weapons by the year 2020. There are now 8,032 member cities around the world. Local members include Carmel, Marina, Pacific Grove, Monterey, and this year, Seaside joined the Mayors for Peace at the urging of the Monterey Peace and Justice Center. We are proud to have the Mayor of Seaside, Ian Oglesby, here tonight to address us.
Well, thank you. Hello. As Mayor of Seaside, I'm proud to represent our residents here today in remembrance not only for what happened to the people of Japan 76 years ago, but what happened to the world as witnesses to the devastation of nuclear weapons on August 9th, 1945. This local 17th annual Hiroshima-Nagasaki Remembrance and Peace Lantern Ceremony allows us to come together in remembrance and in peace. As mayors, we stand with over 8,000 other municipalities throughout the world to eliminate the need for nuclear weapons by resolving the manifold problems that threaten our country's security, our way of life, and to say never again. The vision for a peaceful transformation to a sustainable world's second objective, as mentioned, is to realize safe and resilient cities. As mayors, we are committed to working collectively as a loose global network of local governments to confront our shared challenges and resolve issues unique and distinct to our cities. As a mayor of the city of Seaside, we will continue to be involved, work with others, and to say never again. Yes, promoting world peace requires investment of time, energy, and resources. But we must have a clear focus on increasing equity of opportunities, livable wages, inclusion, and social justice. We protect freedom of expression, gender identity, and cultural diversity. This is the best way to ensure the coexistence between humanity and that the horrors of 76 years ago never happen again. I'll close with a quote. The release of atomic weapons, The release of atomic power has changed everything except our way of thinking. The solution to this problem lies in the heart of mankind. If only I had known, I would have become a watchmaker. Albert Einstein, 1945. If he did, I think we all would have kept better time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We are honored to have Aki Oye with us tonight as our keynote speaker. After a career as an architecture and planning consultant, Aki started painting full-time in 2012. He painted landscapes and cityscapes for a few years, and in 2015 he began shifting to mostly figurative work as a way to convey more directly through his art themes that are meaningful to him, including racial discrimination and social justice. And he was profiled in this week's Monterey County Weekly in the Face-to-Face Profiles. Please welcome Aki Oye.
Thank you. Good evening. Some of you are wondering what this elaborate contraption I have on my neck is. It's a neck brace. I suffered a bad injury about 2 months ago in recuperation, so that's what that is, okay? So, 76 years ago, 1945, August 6th, Hiroshima. I was there. I survived the atomic bomb. My time is way too short to describe the suffering that lasted seconds, minutes, hours, months, years, in a lifetime for many. But in the time I have, I can share my feelings. 8:15 a.m. on a relaxed Monday. Mothers were cleaning up. Children were playing in school. Fathers were going to work. A bomb drops. 8:16 a.m. The bomb explodes. In seconds and minutes, within 1 mile of the epicenter, 80,000 are killed instantly. They are the lucky ones. Another 150,000 would die within the next 5 years. Many more would follow later. I'm sad for the men, women, and children who did not live. And if they did not live normal lives. I'm angry that my country committed this atrocity. If the U.S. had lost the war, many would have been charged with war crimes. By international law today, these acts would be considered a crime against humanity. I'm afraid that Hiroshima and Nagasaki will be repeated, but 1,000 times worse. Russia and US alone have more than 8,000 thermonuclear weapons, some of them 3,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima weapon, that can end in a matter of minutes us and our way of life. We don't think it can happen. We are fail-safe, but that trust is misplaced. It did fail, almost. More likely, more than once. In 1985, Commander Stanislav Petrov of the Soviet Missile Defense Forces was horrified to see 5 missiles streaking incoming from the US toward the Soviet Union on his early warning system. They could wipe out Soviet cities in a matter of minutes. But he did not believe his eyes. He trusted his gut. He did not order a counterattack. Later it's found that the missiles were due to weather aberrations. We and humanity narrowly averted a nuclear holocaust thanks to Commander Petrov's hunch. I feel grateful to be alive, to have lived a normal life, to have children, a wife, and now a grandson, to have lived and felt the sun, experienced love, and all that our world has to offer. If you were born on August 6th, 1945, you would be 76 years old today. There are fewer and fewer of us survivors. Most have died of the after effects or simply of old age. Soon there will be no one left to tell the story who was there in Hiroshima on that day, to tell you what it was like. But that's why I'm here. I feel I owe it to the victims and survivors to tell their story. My final feeling is hope. We have so many challenges. The pandemic, global warming, racism, growing inequality, in addition to the threat of a nuclear holocaust. How are we going to overcome inertia, ignorance, and willful denial? Or maybe we can't. One day, here at Lover's Point, the waves will still be gently rolling in. The sun will sink gently into the west. The creatures will be alive in the sea as the earth recovers, but no one will be here to witness these wonders. Maybe that's the way it's going to be. But does it have to be that way? That's up to you. Take a deep breath. Appreciate the wonders around you and hope that we will be here to see them. Thank you and peace.
I don't know what you can say after that, Aki. Thank you so much. Hard to follow that. However, we have Justin Loza here to speak to us tonight. He is past president of Veterans for Peace, Monterey Chapter, and a board member of the Peace Coalition of Monterey County. He will read a speech by William Dahlman, a longtime member of Veterans for Peace, who died this past November at 91 years of age. Mr. Dahlman served in the Korean War, and his war experiences led him to become an active member of Veterans for Peace. Please welcome Justin Loza.
Thank you, Beverly. You're right. That is really hard to follow. That was really deep. It was really hard to hear. And I'm just so sorry that that actually happened. Peace community, friends, fellow Americans, veterans, patriots, I bring you greetings from Chapter 46, Veterans for Peace. Our primary mission is to heighten our fellow citizens' awareness of the true costs of war. And so we enthusiastically endorse this evening's ceremony, Japanese Peace Lantern ceremony, commemorating the 76th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima-Nagasaki. 76 years ago, and 1 day ago, we unleashed a unique attack upon this earth, and the unsuspecting people of Hiroshima experienced horrors we can only begin to imagine. Some 80,000 human beings incinerated in an eye blink. Some 200,000 to die later from injuries, radiation, poisoning. 4 days later, people of Nagasaki suffered similar fate. This evening, we solemnly ponder these events. 5 years ago, I, with other Korean War veterans, returned to Korea to commemorate the onset of yet another war. We went to Japan to visit the Hiroshima Memorial. With others, I was profoundly moved as I stood gazing at the ruin of the former industrial promotion hall, now simply known as the A-bomb Dome. A hollow dusk that day bears mute witness to the unholy devastation visited upon the city. In the nearby Peace Memorial, Origami's Cranes Park, cranes mark the mound where ashes of tens of thousands of unidentified men, women, and children rest. True, strategic bombing with conventional weapons killed many more tens of thousands of civilians than Little Boy and his cousin. But only these nuclear bombs have struck at the very conditions that make our life here on Earth possible. Inside the memorial, we viewed pictures and commentary in which these Japanese candidly acknowledged the significant military activity that made Hiroshima a military target. And they take responsibility for their nation to starting the war. Yes, we need to hold all who start wars accountable. 6 decades later, historians, tacticians, ethicists, religionists continue to debate whether the U.S. was justified or morally culpable in dropping the nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Rest assured that question will never be resolved, nor is that our purpose here this evening, but let us never waver in this resolve. Never again, never again, one more time, never again. To nuclear testing, let us say no. To a new generation of nuclear weapons, let us say no. To the use of poisonous depleted uranium in our weapons, let us say no. To the demonic militarization of space by any nation, let us say no. To war as our preferred tool of foreign policy, let us say no. For what doth it profit a nation if it gain the world, yet lose its very soul? Let us strive to end war, period. Let your voices be heard by government representatives, such as Ian. Phone them, write them, to continue to write them in the media. Use that internet, and let not your voices be heard only by the choir, but clearly by those good people who may never disagree with us and may never agree with us. Bring your most powerful tools of persuasion to bear. Never let up and be relentless. At times, we seem to tilt at windmills, but learn from water. Those soft and yielding, nothing can stand before it. Not because it is soft and yielding. Still water in pond merely grows stagnant. Water grinds granite when water moves. When water moves, it is relentless. Together, let us create a veritable tsunami. I leave you this evening with the entire text of Winston Churchill's final speech, given at a commencement. Never give up. Never give up. Never give up. Peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. I am pleased to introduce Sylvia Shih from the Monterey Peace and Justice Center. She will read the poem titled Peace Lanterns, which was written by Jennifer Felga, who could not be here tonight. Thank you, Sylvia.
Let us gather light lanterns. Observe a moment of silence. Remember the victims. Let us gather on Pacific shore and let us envision hands joined together in creation, rather than the unconscionable acts of atrocity, of hatred, and taking apart. Let us illuminate hearts in quiet affirmation of nonviolence. Let us ignite peace lanterns. Let us fold paper cranes. Let us treat our neighbors as we wish to be considered. Let us vow to make war obsolete. Make war obsolete.
Thank you, Sylvia. Beautifully, beautifully done. Thank you. We will now have Carol Erickson of the Society of Friends and the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. Carol will read from the 2019 speech given here by Joyce Vanderveer, who spoke for many years at this event. Joyce died at the venerable age of 94 on February 17, 2021. She is remembered for her lifelong peace and justice activism. She co-founded the local chapter of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and she co-founded the Monterey Peace and Justice Center, and was an active leader in both organizations until her passing. She remembered the day the United States dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and spoke from direct memory of that day. Thank you, Carol, for bringing Joyce back to us.
In our 2019 Peace Lantern Ceremony, the 15th year, Joyce spoke more forcefully than ever against the atrocities of war, declared or undeclared. I want to read some of the words she shared with you and us that evening. They are part of the legacy and of her challenge to every one of us to carry on this work toward peace. Joyce told us that she was driving with her dad to her college classes in 1945 when the car radio came on saying that a huge bomb had just exploded, detonated over Japan. She was elated that war in the Pacific was now ended, she said. But her father, a physicist who had been a professor, rather than being invited, going to an invitation to be part of a secret select group, later called the Manhattan Project, was aghast. He knew what they had done. They had built the bomb. The American military and government had not informed the public about the Imperial Japanese efforts to surrender before the deployment of the single atomic bomb that killed the people and the city of Hiroshima, nor the bomb that followed a few days later in Nagasaki. Then the photographs appeared in newspapers and on newsreels of the horrific consequences. Joyce recalled the nightmares she had, and the gradual shift from the nightmares and the mood of jubilation people were experiencing turned to disturbance and disbelief at the destruction and annihilation inflicted on civilians. Her nightmares indeed gradually faded, but they only increased. The world has only increased its dangers since that time. The attempt over the past 80 years to develop a worldwide ban on nuclear weapons by the 9 nuclear-armed nations, that includes the U.S., was decided and derailed by the U.S. withdrawal from the Intermediate Nuclear Treaty Agreement signed by Ronald Reagan and Gorbachev. That withdrawal announcement was made by Donald Trump in August 2019, this same week, 3 years ago. Joyce told us it's time to end the whole nuclear weapon era. They all leave radioactive residues that will contaminate this planet for thousands of years. The only power that can stop global nuclear holocaust is people power. It's you and me and billions of others saying no to threatening the world with destruction, and yes to being good neighbors and good citizens of planet Earth. Yes to green, clean sources of energy. Joyce ended by saying, our Declaration of Independence says everyone, not just Americans, is endowed with inalienable rights, including the right to life itself. Let's honor that by pushing for treaties, diplomatic negotiations, and keep the discussion around keeping all of us safe and the world safe. This is how I would commemorate those who suffered and died in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Those are Joyce's words. We thank Joyce for her passion and her long life of commitment to a better, safer world for all of us. As the kayaks are ready to take the lanterns out into the bay, we have read this prayer from some priests, Buddhist priests in Berkeley, for each of the ceremonies over the past 17 years. Yeah. In this time of hate, chaos, and uncertainty, let us reaffirm our desire to bring peace and compassion to everyone and everything in this world. Let us remember not only those who perished in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but in their memory, let us remember as well all people and all beings throughout the world who have lost their lives in war and hate, and those who have suffered from loss of loved ones in wars. May this gathering be an inspiration to the whole world that each of us here tonight commits to work for the cause of peace and harmony for the sake of humankind. In the spirit of oneness, with trust in infinite compassion and wisdom, we set forth these peace lantern boats onto the water with a hope that the light from each and every lantern in the world will inspire hope and peace throughout the world.
Thank you, Carol. Now, as we set the lanterns onto the water, Tai Chi Master Jim Scott Behrens will play the flute for the lantern floating. Thanks to the kayakers and to Lynn Hamilton, who organized them for this event, and thanks to everyone for your participation. ends our evening together. Go in peace. Thank you.